Tribulation Trump will be impeached by the people of America. He will be impeached. Not only will he be impeached, but Tribulation Trump will be removed from office. 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 Tribulation Trump will make history as the president. Unlike Andrew Johnson, unlike Richard Nixon, unlike Bill Clinton, Tribulation Trump will be impeached and removed from office, and not by the U.S. House of Representatives, but by the people of America and by the prophecy of Almighty God. He will be impeached by the prophecy of Almighty God, and America will suffer the great tribulation consequences. Now, I want you to listen to this. I got a note from someone the other day who said they had been listening to a taping I did many years ago with Mia Pope from Hawaii, who was a contemporary teenager with Barack Hussein, the long-legged Mac Daddy Obama, when he was in Hawaii as a 17-year-old, and she was a 16-year-old going to parties with him. And everybody, when I said Obama, God has named him the long-legged Mac Daddy, the conservative talk media all over America. I was on radio stations in Mississippi, Alabama, Texas. I was all over the place on television. I was all over everywhere in meetings with the Tea Party and with the Oath Keepers, because the term long-legged Mac Daddy had come from God, and they understood it as an extraordinary weapon that took Obama down and inhibited many of the things they would have or could have done, were precluded from being doing, because I said that God had named him the long-legged Mac Daddy, which is the most extraordinary pimp that has ever walked planet Earth. But God has also named Donald John Trump Tribulation Trump, the one who starts and the one who begins the horrific days of the tribulation. God has named them Tribulation Trump. However, the liberal and the Democrats, or Democrats, they have not used this weapon the way the conservatives, the Republicans, the right-wingers used the long-legged Mac Daddy. They have foolishly, the liberals, the Democrats, the left-wingers have foolishly rejected me. And they've rejected the word Tribulation Trump. But he's coming down nonetheless. Tribulation Trump will be impeached. There is nothing that can stop Tribulation Trump from being impeached. But the thing I think that's important about the Tribulation Trump being impeached is that he will also commit suicide. He will do that, because once impeached, he'll be open to more lawsuits than if you put Al Capone, Nicky Barnes, Bumpy Johnson, Legs Diamond, all the Babyface Nelson, John Gotti, the Cosa Nostra and Mafia crowd all together, and all the charges that were ever leveled against them would pale in comparison to the number of legal battles that faced Tribulation Trump, not to mention all of his Trump towers and empire and business will crumble like a cookie when he is finally impeached. And he will not be able to deal with the repercussion and the consequences of all the ill that he has strewn over the years. Mike Pence will be potentially also impeached or indicted and resign. And Mike Pence will also end up in legal jeopardy, if not in jail. The Republican Party will crumble. It will fall apart like an old garment being pulled on after being put on a person that was much too fat and too large for it. It'll begin to start ripping at the seams and ripping apart and coming apart the Republican Party. But you have to know that our constitutional pecking order is that the president leads the nation. If there's a failure in the president and the president is no longer available to be the president, whoever he or she would be, then the vice president steps in to lead the nation. If the vice president is no longer accessible or available, according to our Constitution, to lead the nation, the person who is third in line and third in charge is Nancy Pelosi. And that's what I've come to talk to you about today. Not only is Nancy Pelosi looking very carefully at the procedures of impeachment and bringing along the American people, that the American people impeached Tribulation Trump, because she recognized she very well come January of this year could be the president of the United States of America herself. But she very well could be the president of the United States herself come January of this year, once Pence and Tribulation Trump are both gone. But that's not all. Once the impeachment of Tribulation Trump comes, and the truth about his Ukraine, about his Russian affiliation, about his Russian collusion, about his obstruction of justice, about his continually using illegal tactics and violating campaign finance laws, Hillary Clinton will step back on the stage in early January and say that Tribulation Trump's presidency was illegal, that she was really the legal president, and our nation will then go into a constitutional crisis. But by the time January rolls around, people will be so incensed with the behavior, with the erratic behavior, with the pathological degeneracy, with the insane behavior, and just the madness of Tribulation Trump's charades every day, that they too will be willing to now look at a truth that they refused to look at over the past 2.5 to 3 years, that Tribulation Trump's presidency is illegal. Not only is Tribulation Trump's presidency illegal because there was indeed collusion, conspiracy to commit collusion, and obstruction of justice to identify that collusion in the Mueller report, but Tribulation Trump's presidency is illegal because Barack Hussein Obama, the long-legged Mac Daddy's presidency, was illegal. Now, I'm a voice crying out in the wilderness of Harlem, New York City, North America. There have been major attempts to stifle my voice. There have been assaults and attacks against me, my character, against this church, threats of every kind and every suit, and every spirit of evil of sundry and various attacks to try to silence the truth that I have and speak as the Lord's servant. But rest you well assured, Obama's presidency was also an illegal presidency. I am still a birther. I'm not a birther simply because I want to be a part of a club. I'm a birther because Obama was not born in Hawaii. He was born in Kenya in his mother, Stanley Ann Dunham's attempt to cover up the fact that she was having sex with Frank Marshall Davis, who was her mother's lover, a black man from Chicago, married to her husband at the time. She was a banker, and she was having sex with a black man who had moved out from Chicago under a communist ideal. And Stanley Ann Dunham was around the house as a young girl. Stanley Ann was around the house as a young girl, and Frank Marshall Davis was having sex with the mother and the daughter. And a number of mothers and daughters know this. A number of mothers and daughters know that the man is having sex with both the daughter and the mother. And Frank Marshall Davis was having sex with Stanley Ann. And when she got pregnant, she went out and hooked herself up with Barack Obama, a college student there in Hawaii, and had sex with him and put the pregnancy on Barack Obama. But Barack Obama, the Kenyan, is not Barack Obama, long-legged Mac Daddy's father, and to cover her paths completely, when she was ready to give birth, she flew to Kenya and gave birth there in Kenya. And Barack Obama's mother, who allegedly would be Barack Hussein Obama's grandmother, testified that she birthed Obama there in Kenya. It's on the record. It's been testified by the ABC News and others who interviewed her and testified that she witnessed the birth of her grandson there in Kenya. But it wasn't her grandson. It was Frank Marshall Davis. But Stanley Ann Dunham, in a conspiracy to cover up the fact that she was having sex with her mother's lover, flew out to Kenya to cover her tracks, and she put the birth on Barack Obama. But Barack Obama was not born in America. He was not born in America. So therefore, Tribulation Trump, Barack Obama's presidency was illegal, is illegal, and all presidencies after that, proceeding after that, without that matter being cleared up, is illegal. Now we're going to discover that Tribulation Trump's presidency is also illegal. He colluded with Russia. He colluded with Putin. He colluded with the powers of Russia and on the internet and Facebook and other places to spread lies. He colluded with Russia to become the president of the United States of America. He violated the campaign laws. He is not the legal president. Hillary Clinton was the legal president and will be the only legal president. Until America returns and puts Hillary Clinton in office, we will not have a legal president. And by the way, I'm no fan of Hillary Clinton. God forbid. When her husband, Bill Clinton, moved up here to Harlem, I sent him a letter and told him he's not welcome here in Harlem. I'm no fan or supporter or well-wisher of Hillary or Bill Clinton. I'm simply saying to you, we have not had a president since George Bush. We have not had a president since George Bush. And Hillary will step back on the scene once Tribulation Trump is impeached, because the evidence will flow like the Mississippi River that there was collusion, there was obstruction. My friends, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard the amount of criminal activity, the amount of collusion that Don Jr., Ivanka, that Tribulation Trump, that Rudy Giuliani, that a bunch of other people working with Tribulation Trump did to get him illegally elected with the power and the help of Russia, Vladimir Putin. Eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Now, parenthetically, let me say this. Pat Robertson, the leader of the 700 Club, and Ralph Reed, the founder of the New Reform Young Republicans, have all come out and stated in unison that Tribulation Trump has been mandated by God to be the president. These men and these evangelicals are as phony as a $3 bill. They've never known God. Pat Robertson has never known God. All he's known is a hustle. But the fact that the evangelicals have supported and stated that God sent Tribulation Trump is a scream. But the only scream louder than that is the fact that the blacks, and that the blacks is a term, the black people, Negroes, coloreds, have said that God sent Barack Hussein Obama. Now look at this logically. You may think I'm a hater of white people. You may think I'm a hater of black people. But hear me out before you resolute on who I am and what I do. Hear me out. Look at this. Look at both of these bookends. Obama, who's illegal, but declared by black people, colored people, African-American people, Negroes, declared that God sent him. And you and I both know that's a flat-out lie. The last thing God would choose would be somebody like Barack Hussein Obama. You know that. But look how silly, how crazy, how stupefied black people are, believing that black Obama was some sort of messiah. And moreover, now that he's run his term, he did absolutely nothing for him. He don't know how to duck back in the alley. Obama don't know how to love black people. He don't know how to help black people. It was never his intent to be a black president. Moreover, his mama is black, his white. His mama is a white. Obama got a white mama, so he can't be black. And you can see that. Now look on the other side. Tribulation Trump was put in power by Vladimir Putin, by Russia, by a whole bunch of people working in a colluded state. A whole bunch of people having over 141 meetings with foreign entities. And we haven't seen the iceberg. We just seen the tip of all the people, not just Ukraine, but other persons and people that work to help Tribulation Trump in a foreign way become the president over Hillary Clinton. And yet the white people, the Japheth people who think I hate them, I don't hate you. I'm just telling the truth on you. And when a black man speaks, see, the problem is with you sensitive white folk is that when a black man speaks, you feel that you're so much superior to him that when he says something and he speaks the truth, you interpret it as hate because you don't give him the residence. You don't give the black man the room to speak to you equal to equal. So when he speaks the truth to you, you could interpret it as hate because you don't think he has the right. You don't think he has the anatomical right. You don't think he has the spiritual, the social, or the racial, or the cultural right to speak to you eyeball to eyeball. So you think when he's speaking the truth to you, it's interpreted as hate. It ain't hate. It's just the truth I'm telling you, white people. And y'all are just as wicked and lost as your black brothers by now stating that God has sent Tribulation Trump, lying on him and talking about Cyrus and talking about Esther and all the lying on the Bible. And you're going to pay a dear price in the corner of hell for the lies you told on Esther, for the lies you told on Cyrus, for the lies you told on Jesus, for the lies you told about this Tribulation Trump, this servant of Satan. The same way black folk are going to pay a price for the lies they told on Obama. But no, he ain't the president. And it's all getting ready to explode like a volcano exploding and blowing black smoke and soot all over black and white people. Tribulation Trump will be impeached. 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 And Tribulation Trump will be impeached. And we'll be looking at Nancy Pelosi as the president come the early part of the year 2020. And Hillary Clinton will stand up with all the evidence that will be brought out in the impeachment trials and demonstrating that the presidency was stolen from her, that Tribulation Trump never deserved it, and Hillary Clinton will then stake her claim, and the world will go into conniptions trying to decide what to do as the constitutional crisis come upon us. But stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. We are in the tribulation. And the only way you're going to explain or understand why all these white people, you cannot believe these fat keg-bellied deacons, fat-bellied deacons, and these sissified preachers on Salem Media and in the Southern Baptists, these evangelists and Franklin Grahams are worshiping this casino owner, this pathological degenerate, this man who's been accused of rape by at least 20 women, and they have made him down in Liberty University a saint. The reason why they've done that is because Jerry Falwell Jr. ruling around down there, and his wife got jammed up with one of them 23-year-old Cuban pool cleaners that cleaned her from top to bottom. And he's been paying hush money, including supporting of Tribulation Trump, ever since that pool cleaner cleaned out his wife. And that's what's going on with all of that. That's what's going on with all of them. But listen to this, Tribulation Trump will be impeached. Tribulation Trump will be impeached. Now, we have to understand this. Now, I want you to pray with me, spread this word, even, see, the Japheth people that need to hear this, they don't think that a black man can talk to them eyeball to eyeball, toe to toe. Every time you hear a Japheth or a white man say, I hate white people, because I speak as I do. He never said that when I talked about black people. He never said that when I chased Al Sharpton up and down Main Street. He never said that when I stayed on Obama's case night and day, day and night, day and night, night and day, 24/7 for 10 years. He never said I was a hate preacher then. He said it was the gospel. But every time you hear anybody, Japheth or white, say that I'm a hate preacher, understand here's why he's saying that. He is saying that because he doesn't believe that a black man, no matter who he is, he doesn't believe that a black man can speak to him eyeball to eyeball. He don't believe that a black man can speak to him toe to toe. He believes that he is superior. Even though the black man can stand 10 feet taller than him, he believes he's superior. He believes he is supreme. And anytime the black man tries to tell the white man what to do and tells him the truth and the truth of God, even reading the Bible, the white man sees this as hate speech and does not give the black man the ability to speak to him. That's why he's saying I'm preaching hate. I ain't preaching hate against Tribulation Trump. I'm not preaching hate against these rednecks. I'm not preaching hate against these gully washers. I'm not preaching hate against these swamp dwellers. I'm not preaching hate against these Okies. I'm not preaching hate against these people that support Trump. I'm not preaching hate against these deplorable degenerates. I'm just telling them the truth. Now remember, when I told the truth on black people, they said it was the gospel. They said greater truth has never been told. They declared me the great truth teller when I told people about Obama. I'm just saying the same thing with Tribulation Trump. Will be impeached. Tribulation Trump will be impeached. And he is an illegal president. His presidency is illegal. Not only that, but the man is going crazier than a bunch of bed bugs in a straw mattress where the little boy wets in the bed every night. The Tribulation Trump, and everybody knows it. You have not seen, eyes have not seen, and ears have not heard all the things that are people that are waiting in the wings to tell you the crazy things that this man has done. Let me tell you something. People are going to be begging for Bill Clinton to come back in the Oval Office and have sex with Monica Lewinsky and have sex with Monica Lewinsky's mama and daddy in the Oval Office compared to the insane vomit. This man is a diabolical, pathological misfit. He can't even, he's too crazy to fly over the cuckoo's nest, Trump. He's too crazy to fly over the cuckoo's nest. This boy is off the chain. I'll tell you, he is the epitome of the residency of a strain of white people that have been here in America, that co-chiefs the Mohawk Indians and every other Indian tribe recognized when they got off that boat calling themselves the Puritan. This boy has a strain of lunacy in them. The reason why King George kicked them out of England years ago. This boy has a strain of lunacy that ain't nobody ever seen before. And he's been able to string up people like Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCartney and Mike Pence and that Joyner boy and Ron Johnson and Matt Gaetz of Florida and a bunch of other white boys. He's been able to string that. They've all come out like a running sore, like a pus. They've all come out like a ministrating cloth, like a ministrating woman. Trump has ministrated every last one of these, and all the filth is coming out from between America's legs. All the filth is coming out of America's vagina. All the filth of these white boys, all of them. We've never seen anything. Everybody's shaking their heads. Decent people around the world are shaking their heads and wonder, how did America get this filthy? Well, America is ministrating. That's what's happening. America is ministrating, and the vagina of America is kicking out all the filth, kicking out all of the stench, kicking out all of the disease, so a new birth can take place. And Tribulation Trump is drawing them out like a police. They're all being drawn out, where they've had that spirit in them from the days they got off the Mayflower. They've had that spirit in them from the days they attacked the Mohawks. They've had that spirit in them from the day they bought out New York Island for $24 and some mirrors and beads. Not to mention the spirit that black folk can have. But right now, I think you get the idea and you see clearly where we're coming from and where we're, not only that, where we're going. So here's this before I leave you. Tribulation Trump will be impeached. Tribulation Trump will be impeached before I leave you. And here's the state. If you want to be able to understand and survive the economic collapse, the attack of all things that will be attacked, if you want to survive it, you better start saying Tribulation Trump. Stop calling him President Trump. He ain't no president. He's Tribulation Trump. And Lord have mercy. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen no black hole. You ain't seen no dead bodies. Let me tell you something. You know, Saddam Hussein had a hole out there down there in the southern part of Iraq with 10,000 dead bodies buried in one hole, stinking to high heaven. You ain't seen nothing. You thought Saddam Hussein was crazy. I want y'all to think about something. Maybe y'all don't remember Saddam Hussein and his erratic behavior and the way he conducted himself. Now, before I go, please listen to this, because you may not hear me no more, because Facebook and all them Google, them renegade, they ain't Jews. I love the Jewish people. I love the Zionist people. Them Jews running Google and running Facebook, they hate me. They ain't Jews. They say they are, but they lie. But let me leave you with this. Remember how crazy Saddam Hussein was? Remember, he was a crazy leader of Iraq, the crazy leader of what Nebuchadnezzar had once said of Babylon. And Saddam Hussein thought he was Nebuchadnezzar in the flesh returned. Killing people, throwing 10,000 people in a grave at a time, killing and raping and robbing, and his son Udam and Ugam raping and robbing and ripping and raring as they go along. Saddam Hussein. But finally, one day he had to pay the piper. Finally, it hit the fan. And the ultimate end of Saddam Hussein, the man who lived in the great palace of Shushan, where Nebuchadnezzar and Darius and Cyrus and Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego and Daniel had all stood there in the provinces of Babylon and the splendor of Marduk, the gods of Babylon. When Saddam Hussein, who had inherited that great throne and had declared that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be thrown in the fiery furnace. Saddam Hussein, who had inherited that great power and declared that Daniel be thrown in the lion den for praying to Jehovah and turning towards Jerusalem as he prayed. This crazy leader, this Saddam Hussein, this madman of Baghdad, this madman was finally ended up in a hole dug deep down inside the earth, running from the justice that had finally caught up to him and had caught up to his sons and caught up to his wicked regime. Well, I want you to know that we have a Saddam Hussein in the White House now. We have a Saddam Hussein in the White House, except his name is Tribulation Trump. So Tribulation Trump is just as diabolical, just as wicked, just as maniacal, just as pathological, just as a psychological idiot as was Saddam Hussein, a power hungry. As was Saddam Hussein power hungry, so is Tribulation Trump. You think that because Tribulation Trump hangs out with Kim Jong-un and hangs out with Erdogan of Turkey and hangs out with Putin of Russia and all the other dictators, you think that Tribulation Trump, and see, he gets his jollies. Nothing makes that boy smile more than when he's hanging out with the insane dictatorial leaders of our planet. But I want to tell you something, my brother and my sister. I want to tell you now, if Saddam Hussein was alive, He and Tribulation Trump will be kissing cousins. I will tell you, because those boys are two peas of the same pod. They're the same two people. They're the same two people. Tribulation Trump will slap Vladimir Putin and tell him, get out of my way. My friend is Saddam Hussein. Yeah, it would be so. But friends, hear this. Now hear this. Now hear this. Now hear this. The same fate that met Saddam Hussein is waiting in a hole with a rope that met Saddam Hussein is waiting on Tribulation Trump. It won't be long now. You know what the monkey said when they cut his tail off? You know what he said then? He looked around and said, well, it won't be long now. Tribulation Trump will be impeached. I'm James David Manning. Look for the presidency of Hillary Clinton. I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant, and don't you ever forget it. Now, let me just say a couple of words to you. You need to get this broadcast out. I'm not sure how much longer Facebook and the people who say they're Jews, but they're not. They're not Zionists. They don't protect Israel. They don't go to shul. They don't read the Talmud. They don't support the laws of Moses. They're renegades. But they're running the social media. That's why it's so perverted with pornography. You want to get rid of pornography, you think you want to stop your children, your 7 and 8 and 9-year-old children from watching pornography. Get rid of these renegade Jews that are running social media. They got all that pornography out there accessible to any and everybody. And even you put on parental controls, your child can still find it. But they hate me. They do. And they've been trying everything they get. They took me down off of YouTube, took 73,000 members that we had, subscribers, took all our videos and trashed it and wouldn't give it back to us and told us to take a hike. They hate me. They got trollers out there now, people that troll me every day. They're trying to take us down off of Facebook. They're trying to stop our message. That's why we give praise and thanks to those of y'all who are staying with us. But remember this. Remember this. Get this word out. If I don't get a chance to reach y'all anymore, just get this word out. Everybody knows I'm a voice crying out in the wilderness of Harlem, New York City. Our church is the ATLAH World Missionary Church, located at 38 West 123rd Street, New York City. And you can Google ATLAH Media Network, AMN, ATLAH Media Network, and you can get us and find us. If they take us down off of Facebook, if they take us down off of YouTube, they take us down off of Twitter. You want to stay in touch with us because you want to stay in touch with the truth. Now, you know, we need your financial support. You know, let me say this to you. The one group beyond those haters, those non-Jews who say they're Jews but are not, that hate me and run social media, Google, YouTube, and all that crowd, they hate me. The group that also hates me even more than that is the LGBTQ crowd. Now, this is very important. Listen to me, very important. Listen, it's very important. Do not let the LGBTQ people get a victory over me. I need money. I need money. Because they got money. They run the corporation. They all got an American Express card. They all got big money. They all got big money. I need money. Don't let it be said. Now, this is on your watch. You listen to me very carefully. This is on your watch. Don't let it be said that the LGBTQ people were able to shut the ATLAH Church down up here in Harlem and steal my voice, that they were able to shut us down. Now, they've turned literally thousands of black people up here in Harlem against me. They've turned black preachers out and made them become queers and gays. The black pulpits of Harlem are filled with queers and gays and lesbian women. They've turned them out. And then they've turned the black populace here in Harlem against me. They've turned the black youth against me. They've turned black people against me. They've turned the black politicians against me up here in Harlem. And they've used their influence and their wickedness and their sexual deviancy and their money to turn people against me. But I'm depending on you to stand with me. I'm depending on you to stand with. Don't let them shut me down. Don't let them take our church. Don't let them cause me to have to go to the poorhouse. Don't let it happen where we can't afford to pay our bills. Don't let them take away our opportunity to continue to feed. You know, we fed over 1 million meals and baptized over 1,000 people. We fed 1 million meals to hungry bellies. Don't let that program stop. We educate children and send them to some of the finest schools in America. Don't let that program. Send me your money. Send me your tithes and offerings. Listen, there are very few preachers on planet Earth that are standing like I'm standing against LGBTQ. And you know they're wrong. Now in your heart, look in your heart. Look in your heart. Look in your heart. You don't want them to stand up and say, we shut Manning down. You don't want that to happen. And you can stop it. You can stop it with your money. You can stop it with your tithes, with your gifts. You can stop it. You can stop. You don't want them to shut me down. No, you don't want it to happen. And you support me, I'm going to stand. You know I don't turn to the right nor to the left. You know I don't. You know I don't. So go ahead now. And don't let them get the victory over me. Don't let the LGBTQ people get the victory over me. And don't let those people who hate God, hate Jesus, hate his word, get the victory over me in social media. Stand with me. Financially support me. Pray with me. Pray for me. And I promise you this, I'll never disappoint you. I'll never forsake you. I will never turn, but I will always stand and preach what thus saith the Lord. I'm the Lord's servant. I am the Lord's servant. I said, I'm the Lord's servant. I need your help. Help me fight. You hear how fiercely I fight. Help me fight. Help me throw the punches. Help me fight. Help me. Help me. Help me fight. Go ahead now. You got the address of where to mail those gifts. And let me say a special shout out to Goldfinger. Goldfinger, we love you. We love you, Goldfinger, for sending those gifts every week. Goldfinger been sending in gifts sometime now twice a week. We love you, Goldfinger. We love you. We love you. Help me. Help me. Help me, I can. Help me. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant. And hallelujah. And boom shakalaka goes right there. This is a bit of a news blog we do looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.